Two people get the exact same diagnosis: sciatica from a bulging disc. One is pain-free in 3 weeks. The other is still suffering 3 years later, unable to sit through a movie or sleep through the night. What's the difference? It isn't luck. It comes down to 3 hidden factors that control your healing timeline. While most people are told to just rest and wait, that's often the very advice that keeps them stuck in a cycle of pain. In this video, I'm going to reveal those 3 factors. You'll learn why the standard advice fails so many and how you can switch from the slow lane of recovery to the express route, starting today. Section 1. The Great Sciatica Myth. All right, first things first. We have to debunk the biggest myth in back pain recovery, the idea that healing is just a matter of time. You've probably heard it. Oh, sciatica? Yeah, that takes about 4 to 6 weeks to clear up. You're given this neat little timeline, maybe a prescription for anti-inflammatories, and told to rest. But if you're watching this, you probably know it's not that simple. For many, the pain does fade. But for a solid 20 to 30% of people, the problem persists, turning into chronic pain that can last for a year or even longer. The problem with the just wait it out approach is that it's a gamble. It assumes your body will automatically fix the problem if you just give it a break. But it ignores the why. Why did the nerve get irritated in the first place? And more importantly, what's stopping it from healing now? Someone on the slow path might believe the timeline. They rest. They avoid activities that hurt. They are a good patient. But the pain doesn't go away. It lingers. It flares up, and it becomes a central, depressing part of life. This is what happens when you wait for the problem to fix itself without ever realizing you're missing the instruction manual. On the other hand, the express path to recovery is built on a simple truth. True healing isn't passive. It's an active process, and it starts with understanding the first hidden factor. Section 2. Hidden factor. Number 1. The real source of the crime. The first and most critical hidden factor is identifying the real source of the compression. Think of your sciatic nerve as a long garden hose running from your low back down your leg. Sciatica happens when something steps on that hose. The most common culprit, the one everyone talks about, is a herniated or bulging disc. The disc pushes out and steps on the nerve root right where it exits the spine. This is what most people are told they have. But here's the secret. That's not the only place the hose can get kinked. Deep in your hip, there's a small muscle called the piriformis. The sciatic nerve runs right underneath it, and in a notable percentage of people, the nerve actually runs through the muscle. When that muscle gets tight or spasms, it can squeeze the sciatic nerve just as hard as any disc. This is called piriformis syndrome, and while it accounts for about 6 to 8% of sciatica cases, it feels almost identical to sciatica from a disc. Here's where the 2 recovery paths diverge. One treatment path can be entirely focused on the disc. The advice is to rest and avoid bending. But what if the real problem isn't the disc? It's a tight piriformis muscle from years of sitting and poor hip mobility. The person on this path is trying to fix a problem in their back when the real crime scene is in their hip. It's no wonder they aren't getting better. The police have been sent to the wrong address. On the better path, a more proactive assessment might discover this. A therapist might notice the hips are incredibly tight. Work begins on gentle stretches for the piriformis. Suddenly, the pressure comes off the nerve. The pain starts to retreat. This path doesn't just wait for the disc to heal. It addresses the actual source of the compression. So ask yourself, has anyone looked beyond your spine? Have they checked your hip mobility? If all the focus has been on your back with no results, it might be time to investigate the piriformis. It's the hidden culprit for so many who suffer for years without answers. Section 3. Hidden factor number 2. The internal fire of inflammation. Okay, so you've identified the right culprit, but that's only half the battle. The second hidden factor is your body's overall level of inflammation. Think of an irritated sciatic nerve like a fresh sunburn. It's red, it's sensitive, and the slightest touch feels like agony. Now imagine trying to heal that sunburn while you're still sitting in the blazing sun. It's never going to get better, right? Inflammation is that internal sun, constantly beating down on your irritated nerve. Sciatica is, by nature, an inflammatory condition, but for many people, that fire never goes out. It becomes a raging systemic bonfire that prevents the nerve from ever calming down. This is where certain lifestyle choices work against healing. Being under a lot of stress pumps the body full of cortisol, a major driver of inflammation. A diet full of processed foods and sugar is like throwing gasoline on that inflammatory fire. Not sleeping well because of the pain, and poor sleep itself, raises inflammatory markers. The body can get stuck in a constant state of high alert. Even if the pressure on the nerve lessens, the nerve itself is living in a toxic, inflamed environment. It can't heal. And here's a crucial point that might surprise you. Studies show that the size of a disc herniation on an MRI often has little to do with the severity of your pain. It's the level of inflammation and nerve sensitization that really dictates how bad it hurts. Meanwhile, making different choices can put out the internal fire. To manage stress, one can start deep breathing exercises, cutting out sugar and focusing on anti-inflammatory whole foods like fruits, vegetables, and healthy fats can help. Prioritizing 8 hours of sleep is also key, and the body responds. With the inflammation levels down, the nerve can finally start to heal. The sunburn is no longer being constantly reburned. This is why some people find relief so quickly. They aren't just treating the pinch, they are changing the entire chemical environment around the nerve. If any of this is resonating with you, if you recognize your own struggle in this description of being stuck, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. The goal here is to give you the information you've been missing and the tools to move from confusion and pain to clarity and control. It's free, and it ensures you won't miss the next piece of the puzzle. Section 4. Hidden factor number 3. The prison of immobility. We've found the culprit and we've put out the fire. Now for the third and possibly most counterintuitive factor, nerve mobility. Nerves are not meant to be held still. They are designed to glide, slide, and move as your body moves. That sciatic nerve needs to be able to slide back and forth a few centimeters every time you bend over or straighten your leg. When a nerve is irritated and inflamed, our first instinct is to guard it. We stop moving. We find a position that doesn't hurt, and we stay there. This is a common and understandable reaction. Terrified of triggering the pain, a person might move as little as possible, but this is a trap. When you stop moving, the tissues around the nerve can get sticky and adhesions can form. That nerve, which needs to glide, gets glued down. Now, every time you try to move, instead of gliding, the nerve gets tugged and stretched, and an angry, inflamed nerve hates to be stretched. This creates a vicious cycle. It hurts to move, so you move less. But moving less causes the nerve to get even more stuck, which makes it hurt even more when you eventually do have to move. This is why pain is often worst in the morning or after sitting for a long time. The nerve has been held static and has become stuck. The secret to breaking this cycle is the concept of nerve mobility, often called nerve flossing or nerve gliding. These aren't aggressive stretches. They are gentle, repetitive movements designed to restore that slide. A great example is the seated sciatic nerve floss. You sit upright. Then as you straighten one leg and flex your foot up, you gently tilt your head back. Then, as you bend the knee, you bring your chin to your chest. You're gently pulling the nerve from one end, then the other, breaking up that stickiness. So, the difference between 3 weeks and 3 years isn't luck. It's knowledge and action. The path to faster healing means addressing the 3 key areas: finding the real source of the compression, lowering systemic inflammation through lifestyle, and restoring the nerve's natural mobility with gentle movement. You are the driver on this recovery journey, not a passive passenger hoping for the best. If you're tired of the guesswork and ready to take control, I invite you to explore the resources on our website. We have programs designed to guide you through these exact steps. The path to a pain-free life isn't about waiting. It's about understanding and taking effective action. Start your journey today. Thank you for watching.